Because you're missing your kugel and your babka. Now, does anyone have an idea why don't we have kugel and babka today? I don't know. Today's a fast day. So why don't you guys have kugel and babka? You guys aren't fasting. You guys aren't bar mitzvah. Jake is fasting, but the rest of you aren't. Right? Maybe some people are fasting, but most of you aren't. So why not bring kugel and babka? Shlomo.
Because it will make the other people jealous.
Wow, that's very good. You're clearly a very thoughtful and caring person. So I'll tell you the truth. The truth is that I discussed that with a rabbi last night. I discussed that aspect of it. What about the fact that there's going to be some people there and they're going to, and they're going to feel badly about it? And the rabbi said, even if they're not there, you still shouldn't serve kugel and babka. Why? Let's say we didn't have anyone here who wasn't fasting. I'm sorry, anyone here who was fasting. Let's say everybody here was not fasting. So maybe myself, Rabbi Jacoby, would be a little bit, the smells of the food would make us a little bit hungry. All right. But why shouldn't we have kugel and babka even if you're not fasting today? Aiden.
Because there's some people more than 13 that are supposed to fast. So
Fine, but let's say everybody here was under 13. Let's say most of the bar mitzvah boys, besides for Jake, most of the bar mitzvahs aren't here. So let's say we only had boys under bar mitzvah. So everyone's not fasting. So why not serve kugel and babka? Avraham.
Because you're not allowed to. If you're fasting, you're not allowed to. Even if you're not fasting, you're not allowed to give someone food on a fast day, even if they're not fasting.
Okay, I mean, so the truth is that you are allowed to, right? I mean, like, for example, like my kids need, need breakfast and lunch, even on Yom Kippur, if your kids need food, you have to serve them food. You have to give them food. But that is an interesting thought. It's what to think about. But the question is that why can't we have kugel and babka today? Why are we not serving kugel and babka today? It's a fast day, but you guys are not fasting. Elior.
Right, I have two reasons. One, there's also teachers.
Okay, but let's say we take us out of it for a second.
And there were people that surrounded the kotel. So it's a really sad day because they surrounding it.
Meaning what? Meaning what, Elior?
They could break it.
You're on the right track. Okay, so what does that have to do with you? You guys aren't fasting.
But it's still a sad day, so it's better than they eat.
Very good. Meaning that even though it's not a fast day, it's true. Meaning, even though it's a fast day, but you guys are not fasting, but you're not supposed to have big parties today. You're not supposed to have extra treats today. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's a sad day. At the end of the day, terrible things happen to our people on this day. Terrible things happen to our people on this day. So because of those terrible things that happen to our people on this day, even for people that aren't fasting, you're supposed to not go for a third slice of pizza. You're not supposed to have an extra Kit Kat bar. You're supposed to try as much as you can to lessen and to lower your enjoyment of food on this day. Now, what is a fast day supposed to be? What is a fast day supposed to be? Is it all about fast and don't eat? It was a sad day. Bad things happened years ago. And therefore, you should not eat and therefore you'll feel a little bit sad. What's it all about? Is that what it's all about? Is it all about fasting? That's what we're supposed to do? Rather, what's it all about? Idan, do you have any ideas for me? What's it all about? Right, meaning similar to Elior. Very good. Right, very good. Okay. But does anyone have any ideas about this? What is a fast day all about? Okay, so we're not eating. Okay, that we got, right? That's in the name, fast day, right? Which for some people goes by very slowly. But okay, it's a fast day, so we don't eat, okay? But what are we supposed to do? Well, like, what's the purpose of the day? Is there a purpose? Is there like something that we're supposed to be doing today? Or is it just, no, don't eat, and, and therefore don't feel as good? Aaron.
The book of the days is that the days?
Okay. And that's it?
No.
Okay, what else? What else is it about today? And in fact, if you read the Svarim, like the halacha books, and you read about like what you're supposed to do today, if somebody sits all day, okay, fasting, dressed in sackcloth, whatever that means exactly, right? He sits fasting all day, and he doesn't really do what he's supposed to. He was wasting his time. So what are you really supposed to do? What's the real job of today? So I'm going to share it with you. The real job of a fast day, and every fast day, the real job of a fast day is that the not eating food is supposed to be a way to prepare yourself to think about your actions. It's a way to prepare yourself to think about, what is my purpose and meaning in life? What am I doing? How can I improve? How can I do better? I want to tell you an amazing thing. You ready? We just had this past Sunday, Nissan Black came and spoke to us, and he delivered a message. And he didn't say his whole story about where he came from. But I want to tell you something amazing. At a certain point in his life was in danger. Somebody was chasing him to kill him. And he ended up, through that whole episode, he ended up becoming Jewish. But do you know what really was like, what really got him over the hump, as they say? You know what got him over the hump to be able to really decide he wants to become Jewish? He fasted. I don't remember exactly how long it was. Maybe Rebbe remembers. It was over a week. It was over a week he fasted. He drank water, because you can't survive without water. He drank water, but he fasted. He didn't eat for over a week. And during that, I think it was around a week, he studied. He studied the Bible, the Word of God. He knew this was the Word of God. He didn't know where else to turn to, but he knew this was the Word of God. He studied the Bible for over a week and fasted. Drank water, but fasted for a week. And then he came to realize that, he should become Jewish. And how is he going to do it? There's a whole interesting story about how he ended up actually becoming Jewish. But the point is that fasting, when we're separated and removed from our physical pleasures and physically gratifying our bodies, it prepares us to be able to think about life. It prepares us to be able to reflect. Is what we're doing right? Is it wrong? How can we do better? Now, today also happens to be, there's a lot of things happening today. It's a Friday, right? So we have the Erev Shabbos program. It's Asar B'Teves, it's a fast day. And it's also the last day of the first semester, right? This is it. This is the end of the first semester.
What do you mean?
It's the end of the first semester. We're going to be going on vacation, right? We're going to be having vacation for a week, and then we come back afterwards, and then we start the second half of the year. So it's the end of the first half of the year. So I had an opportunity. I was speaking with some of the boys today. And the end of a first semester, if you think about it, right, for a lot of people, for sure for me, whenever I ended things, especially when I was a kid, it was a time of tremendous reflection and nostalgia and thinking back about what happened. What happened the first half of the year? What happened the first few months? Am I happy with how I performed? With how I behaved? Could I have done better? Could I have done worse? It's a very opportune time to do that. It's a very appropriate time to take stock, to think about how you did. Now, I want to tell you 2 different ways that a person can react when a person thinks back about how he's doing. Okay? 2 different ways. One way I think is much more common, one way is much less common. Very often, a person will sit back and they'll say, So how am I doing in life? Gosh, darn it, I really stink. I messed this up. I messed that up. I'm no good at this. I'm no good at that. All right, whatever. I'll just continue. Right? Someone looks back on a year, right? They started the year with so much excitement in the beginning, and then they messed this up, they messed that up, they didn't do good here, they didn't do good there. I'll try again next year. I don't know. We'll see what we can do next time. Did anybody ever have a bad day? And the day is just not going right? Right? You know, like you wake up late, you didn't have your right breakfast, your lucky pair of pants wasn't clean, right? Like it's just not going right. And you're like, forget it. I'll start again tomorrow. Very often that's what happens. What happens is that when we think about our actions and we think about what we're doing, we just become very saddened. We look at all the bad things and then we're like, I don't know. I'll start again sometime. I'll hit the reset button. You should know, by the way, there's a whole religion of people, I think Buddhists or Hindus, who they believe, right? I mean, we believe in a similar thing, but very, very different. They believe that people are constantly just coming back to life. So it's like if you're a Buddhist, right, or like a Hindu, and like you're living the wrong way, it's like, all right, forget about this iteration of life. I'll start again with the next chapter, right? That's the way a lot of people react. So let me tell you a muscle. Let me tell you an analogy, what this is like. Does anybody here know what a push cart is? Anybody know what a push cart is?
Yeah.
Okay, and the boys in my class can't answer. What's a push cart? What's a push cart? Ari, what's a push cart?
Oh, no, I was saying it.
No, what's a push cart, Aaron?
When you put your card in to something like when you're buying something.
Okay. Oh, you're thinking about a shopping cart? Like in the store? Okay. So similar. Did you guys ever read the Push Cart Wars? It's a book. Do they read Push Cart Wars anymore? You remember Push Cart Wars? I remember Push Cart Wars. Okay. So nobody nowadays knows about Push Cart Wars. Okay. A push cart was back in the day in like the 1900s, 1910, 1920, 1990s. Like back when people were like very close to dinosaurs, right? So people would have, when people came to America, right, as immigrants, they would become business people because they didn't have, right, they didn't go to college, they didn't know about these things. So they would get themselves a push cart. Okay, a push cart was like a wheelbarrow, right? And they would take their wheelbarrow and they would bring it to the market. They would look for things to buy, and then they would look to sell those things for a little bit more money. So there was a guy in the Lower East Side. I'm making up the story, but this is just the muscle, okay? Guy in the Lower East Side, right, in Manhattan, he gets a great deal on apples. And he fills up his push cart with apples. And he's going around the Lower East Side and he's selling apples for 10 cents each. And he's going to make a lot of money. He's very excited about this. And he announces apples, 10 cents an apple, 10 cents an apple. Everyone gathers around. They start filling up their bags with apples. They're paying him. He's doing a lot of business. And then one of his customers bumps into his push cart and knocks it over. And all of his apples are rolling around in the street. Now, if you're walking around in the street and you see big, delicious, juicy red apples rolling around, what are you going to do? You're going to pick them up. And that's what started happening. Everyone started picking up this guy's apples. And he's screaming, stop, they're my apples, stop. Is anyone listening?
No.
No one's listening. All they know is free apples. I got free apples here. I'm picking up my free apples. In fact, by the way, I saw a similar thing to this a couple of years ago. I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a video of a Brinks truck. Right? You know what a Brinks truck is?
No.
A Brinks truck is a truck that goes around that delivers money to ATMs and banks. So they transport them in Brinks trucks. You saw this video? There was a Brinks truck that the back of it, I don't know, got broken somehow. It was money just blowing into the street. Tons of money just blowing into the street. Okay? So anyways, so everyone's here, they're walking in Lower Manhattan, and red apples all over the floor, so they're all picking them up. And this guy's screaming, stop, they're my apples. Everyone's just picking up his apples. There's an old wise man on the side who screams to the guy. He screams to the pushcart guy, the peddler. And he says, hey, buddy, what are you doing? He says, I'm trying to get them to stop picking my apples. He said, yeah, but they're gone. It's not working. Everyone's taking them. He's like, so what should I do? He says, smarten up and grab some apples for yourself. Don't sit there stopping them from getting the apples. Pick up some apples for yourself. At least save some of the apples. Such an insightful piece of wisdom for how to live life. And this has to be our attitude. You see, life is not perfect. And we mess things up. And we make mistakes. If every time we would respond by saying, forget about it, I'll start over tomorrow, there might not be tomorrow. And you just wasted an opportunity today. So what is our attitude supposed to be? Okay, you blew it for the first half of the year, for the first half of the day, for the first hour of class. But do it right for the rest of it. Learn from your mistakes and do it right for the rest of it. You see, if we're going to sit there and reflect on our behavior and on our actions, and we're going to be thinking about all the things that we did bad, and that's going to lead us to say, I just give up, then we're hurting ourselves. We're not helping ourselves, we're hurting ourselves. So some people say, okay, so then don't think about what you do, just think about the good things. Okay, but if you only think about the good things, then you're not going to really learn how to get better. So it's important to think about what you did wrong. But you have to train yourself and you have to rewire your brain to a certain degree that your response has to be, grab the apples. Whatever apples are there, grab them. Don't let them all roll away from you. Pick up whatever you can. So you didn't get the first Gemara. Okay, get the second Gemara. You didn't get the Gemara's question. Get the Gemara's answer. Right? You didn't do it perfectly. Okay, so do it however you can. And with such an attitude, guarantee you'll be successful. And this is really, there was a rabbi years ago who said the difference between great people and not great people is this exact point. The difference between great people and not great people is this exact point. Great people have the mindset and the attitude, let me do what I can. Not great people say, if I don't do it perfectly, then it's not worth doing it at all. It seems to be just the opposite, right? You see, and really the Yetzer Hara comes to us with that exact speech. Oh, you're so great. Because you're so great, you have to do it perfectly. And if you're not doing it perfectly, well then try again tomorrow. And tomorrow, then you'll do it perfectly. It's all a trick. Because tomorrow, you're going to make a mistake again. And then you're not going to do it perfectly again. And that's how, the way that this rabbi said it was, little people. He called them big people and little people. He said that's what little people do. Little people say, I can only do it perfectly. And if I can't do it perfectly, I'm not doing it at all. I'm going to do it tomorrow. He said big people, they take advantage of what they can do. It seems like it's just the opposite, but it's so true and it works so well. So we have to get ourselves thinking along these lines. I did something wrong. Okay. Next time I'll do it a little better. And next time, let's say I mess up at the beginning. Okay, I'll do it right at the end. You know what my rabbi said in shul? He was talking about focusing and paying attention for when someone's davening Shemona Esrei, right? When we daven Shemona Esrei, we're supposed to think about the words that we're saying. It's especially very important to think about the words you're saying for the first blessing of Shemona Esrei. Let's say somebody finds they're holding by Sim Shalom, right? The last official bracha of the entire Shemona Esrei, and he just got off the boat from Italy, and now he is ready to go around Italy, and he finds himself suddenly by the bracha of Sim Shalom. Okay, his mind is all over the world. It's in France, it's in Italy, it's in his Punta Cana vacation. He's all over the place, and finally he finds himself by the bracha of Sim Shalom. Whoa! What does a big person do? A big person says, I'll pay attention for this blessing. For this last blessing, I'll pay attention. At least this blessing, I'll pay attention. A little person says, I blew almost the whole thing already, right? 18 out of 19, I already did it. Forget about it. That's what a little person does. So let's at least take from this fast day, which is coinciding with the end of the semester, right? Which is coinciding with Erev Shabbos, so I have an opportunity to speak to you. that we have to rewire ourselves. We have to get ourselves in the habit of thinking, grab the apples. Grab whatever you can. Do what you can. So you can't do it the best, do what you can. Over the course of life, this will get you much, 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 much further than saying, I lost some of the apples, so I'll just throw away the rest of them. Big, big mistake. Boys, we don't have